Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star based on novel. So let's start. The war among the top beings from almost all the superpowers in the original universe was over, yet the ordinary life forms didn't know anything about it. Lower tier wars would be catastrophic to them, yet the war among the top beings didn't affect them at all. Of course, if one side lost, the beings in their territories would be ruthlessly slaughtered. The united forces didn't win. The human team didn't lose. This was how the war had ended. It could have been foreseen that the two teams would keep fighting each other for a long time. Unless one side was absolutely confident that they could crush the other side, such a large-scale war wouldn't happen again. Huyangbo had died, and Yunmo Star had been destroyed. However, since Barbata had become undying, he had rebuilt Yunmo Star quickly, taking back the power area that had previously belonged to Huyangbo before, except for the area around Earth. Purple stars shone their light upon Yunmo Star through dark clouds. On Earth were warriors gathered from all kinds of planets. They were trained strictly on the planet, while warriors most loyal to the master of Yunmo Star would be chosen from among these candidates. "Come at me, idiots from Aluo Star," a giant being roared at the camp opposite to him. "I'm right here waiting. Come if you can." The giant had a red horn on his forehead. He stood just outside the camp. The members of the opposite side were irritated. Someone tried to rush out, but they were pulled back. "What a maniac! Are you suicidal?" A voice came from the camp. "Don't worry about that maniac." Ha ha ha, waha. The single-horned giant man was reckless. "Idiots from Aluo Star, you are cowards. You'll be cowards before me forever." A being appeared in the sky. He wore a casual, silver-white cape as he floated in the sky. He looked down and whispered, "Is this how Yunmo Star looked like before it was destroyed? Barbata spent so much time rebuilding it. It seems Huyangbo does have a strong impact on him." Then Luo Feng kept flying. He flew relaxedly. Neither the security guards nor the other means of detection spotted him. Some warriors flew past in front of him, but they didn't notice him either. This was what true control over space and time meant. He flew for a while as he wanted to observe Yunmo Star, and it took him a while to arrive above a black castle. Luo Feng looked down and shouted, "Barbata." On the throne inside the palace sat a child in a black cape. He had two antennae on his forehead and red eyes. His face was chubby. He may have looked cute, but the female servants from other planets who were performing down there knew how terrifying he was. "Barbata," said a voice. "Huh?" The black-caped child raised his head. "Sure." He teleported and disappeared. Asterisk 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 asterisk. In the sky above the black castle, the silver-caped form of Luo Feng stood in the sky, and a black-caped child appeared beside him. The black-caped child looked at Luo Feng and shouted, "Master. You seem pretty relaxed." Luo Feng chuckled. "But it seems you're still practicing hard. You can teleport now. The resources you provided, and the path you suggested," said Barbata. "Even the most mediocre can become undying, not to mention someone smart like me." The ordinary class didn't know about that war, but Barbata was undying and had been summoned to the primal universe before. The undying fighters had come back only after the war had ended. Besides, everyone in Primal Chaos City was talking about the war. Although they didn't know the details, they had heard that Luo Feng was one of the top performers. "Let's go to the outer space of Yunmo Star," said Luo Feng. "Why?" Barbata was confused. "I'm going to resurrect Huyangbo," said Luo Feng. Barbata's body shook, as he couldn't control his emotions. Luo Feng sighed in his heart. Barbata was, after all, closer to Huyangbo. There was still some distance between him and Barbata. For one thing, Barbata had called Luo Feng by his name at first, but as Luo Feng grew stronger, Barbata had started to revere him and call him master. How could he not be in awe of Luo Feng? Luo Feng was one of the top beings in the human race, even in the entire original universe. On the contrary, Barbata and Huyangbo had been through countless life and death battles, and they had spent an eternity going on adventures through the universe. Barbata had been with Huyangbo ever since becoming an intelligent life form. It was not difficult to imagine how close they had been. "Okay," said Barbata with thrill. "Let's go to outer space." Luo Feng nodded, took Barbata, and disappeared. In the outer space of Yunmo's star, Luo Feng, wearing his silver cape, stood outside the atmosphere while Barbata stood beside him, looking worried. "Watch closely," said Luo Feng. "Up." Luo Feng looked around the space in front of him. With a thought, time in the area started to turn back. The scenes were rewound, including the scene when Yunmo's star had been rebuilt and the scene when Yunmo's star had been attacked and destroyed. Luo Feng controlled time and accelerated the rewinding. "Huh!" Luo Feng stopped. The triangular Yunmo star spaceship appeared. There were beings inside it. "Is it this one, Barbata?" asked Luo Feng. With a thought, the beings inside Yunmo star spaceship appeared. A handsome man showed up at the front of the control room in the spaceship, and beings were standing behind him, including Barbata. "Wu Xie, Wu Xia." Barbata couldn't stop trembling, and he shouted at Luo Feng, "Yes, it's them. It's them." Luo Feng was surprised. Barbata was, indeed, closer to Huyangbo and his servants. He decided to resurrect those soul slaves as well, to show his gratitude to Barbata, and Huyangbo. Huyangbo's help seemed tiny now, but it was highly influential to him. "Freeze." Luo Feng moved his mind. It locked Yunmo space, Huyangbo, and his 9 soul slaves. Everyone was frozen in place. Turn back time. Luo Feng let the time go back to the original. It was like a spring bouncing back. Luo Feng didn't have to endure any burden if he decided not to save anyone, but there would be a price to pay if he wanted to bring back lives by taking them from the past to the present. The punishment was actually for Huyangbo and his 9 soul slaves, yet Luo Feng was the one who bore it, as they couldn't. To Luo Feng, it was easy for him to revive Universe Knights, not to mention some undying fighters. After a while, Yunmo's spaceship floated in the sky. Apparently, Luo Feng had even brought back Yunmo's star spaceship from that time. If a being was still alive, he couldn't bring it back. As for objects, however, they could be brought back even if they still existed. For example, an existing true treasure could be duplicated by bringing one from the past when turning back time. The punishment for this, however, would be horrifying. It would cost more to bring back a single true treasure than to get 10 new true treasures. Of course, the punishment for bringing back Yunmo's star spaceship was nothing to Luo Feng. After all, Yunmo's star spaceship wasn't even a treasure. Hua. The door opened, and a handsome man in a black cape strolled excitedly through the doorway. He took a step and walked into the space. Undying fighters behind him walked out one by one as well. They all looked excited and nervous. The handsome, black-caped man looked at Luo Feng, then noticed black-caped child beside him. "Barbata," he yelled. "Big brother." Barbata couldn't help it anymore. He teleported to beside the handsome man, Huyangbo, and hugged him. This man was both like a big brother and a father to him. "Big brother, big brother, big brother," Barbata kept shouting as he embraced Huyangbo, and his voice showed how much he had missed Huyangbo. Luo Feng looked in the distance and sighed. Barbata was indeed close with Huyangbo. Huyangbo and his 9 slaves were all dazed. They all had the memories from the past, so they all knew that they had died. Yet they had been brought back now. A universe master turned back time and revived them. How? What dazed them more was Barbata, who had previously only been an intelligent life form, had teleported to them. Teleportation. "Barbata, you're undying now," said an ape-shaped undying life form standing behind Huyangbo. "Yes." Barbata nodded. "With the help of my master, Milky Way Horde leader Luo Feng. I'm an undying emperor now, and I can teleport." Milky Way Horde leader. Huyangbo and his soul slaves were all bewildered. Of course, they knew Milky Way. Hu Yangbo had a land in the Milky Way, yet they had never heard of any Horde leader. They hadn't expected a Milky Way Horde leader to be here after being resurrected, and they couldn't imagine that Barbata, who had previously been an intelligent life form, was an undying emperor stronger than all of them now. After all, Hu Yangbo was only an official. How long have we been dead? 10 million years. 100 million years. Hu Yangbo couldn't help asking. And who is this Milky Way Horde leader Luo Feng? Milky Way Horde leader is one of the top beings in the human race, and is also one of the supreme beings in the original universe, answered Barbata. It was Master Luo Feng who turned back time and resurrected you all. That is Master Luo Feng. He pointed at Luo Feng in the distance. Hu Yangbo and his slaves turned around to look at the silver-caped man standing in the distance. Their attention had been entirely on Barbata. Until he pointed at Luo Feng, they hadn't even realized he was standing there. The silver-caped man walked forward, which astounded Hu Yangbo and his slaves. Amazing. This was a being who could turn back time. They were nothing in front of such a being. Teacher Hu Yangbo, said the silver-caped man. After a while. I know the universe number of Teacher Hu Yangbo. Luo Feng smiled. As long as you connect to the virtual universe, you can see my number on your contact list. You can reach me anytime you want. Teacher Hu Yangbo and Barbata haven't seen each other for a long time, so I'll leave you two alone. He then turned around and disappeared. Hu Yangbo and his soul slaves were only relieved after seeing Luo Feng leave. Big brother, Master Luo Feng is grateful of you, said Barbata. Even though you died a long time ago, you were his instructor and left your inheritance, which benefited him before. There's no need to be so nervous. You can speak plainly. Big brother and the rest of you, why were you scared? He couldn't even talk with you. It sounds simple, and we all understand that, said the ape-shaped undying fighter. That's a universe master, Barbata. To us, Ganwu Universe Country Master is already an ancient and invincible being. As for Universe Masters, they are the pinnacle beings of the human race. Though Big Brother did that Milky Way Horde leader a favor, we didn't know him. Who wouldn't be scared of a powerful being like him? He might be able to kill us with one look. Hu Yangbo took a deep breath and stroked Barbata's head. Barbata, you fought with him before, and you've been with him since he was still weak. You grew with him, so you are comfortable with him. We didn't know him directly, so we need to be well behaved. Even if he owes me a favor, I can't be reckless. Otherwise, I'll be in trouble. Everyone around him nodded. There was an ancient proverb on the earth: to be in the king's company is tantamount to living with a tiger. When facing a being with absolute power, one needed to be careful, even if that being owed a favor. Like a king on the earth, universe masters, who could slaughter the beings on billions of planets, and reserve time to save countless beings, were held in awe by ordinary undying fighters. Most undying fighters couldn't hope to even see a universe master in their lives. Okay. Barbata nodded. I understand what you're saying. Even though Master Luo Feng suppresses his power and treats me the same as before, I still feel nervous sometimes. I called him Luo Feng before, but I don't do that now. That's Majesty. Hu Yangbo smiled. Even if a supreme being doesn't reveal his majesty directly, we still venerate him because of his status. Those without respect can't live long. I just didn't expect my broken inheritance to help cultivate such a great being. The yellow-skinned man behind Hu Yangbo said, Barbata, you need to tell us the stories about this Milky Way Horde leader. When they first met, Luo Feng had wanted to talk with them about his stories, and Barbata briefed them, too. Hu Yangbo and his slaves understood how they were connected to Luo Feng. However, after Barbata finished briefing them, Hu Yangbo and the others all looked incredibly nervous. Luo Feng had only talked with them for a short while, and he had left because they were too nervous to have a conversation. As for Hu Yangbo and his soul slaves, they were all curious about how an earthling had become one of the supreme beings in the entire human race, after only 200,000 years. Huyangbo and the others were all proud that they had helped him in the process, and they all understood that they had a bright future ahead of them as long as they were not foolish. They were now connected to a supreme being. "I know everything about Master Luo Feng before he became undying," said Barbata. "After becoming undying, he got more and more powerful, at which point I know less and less. Regardless, the stories I do know are fascinating enough. Master Luo Feng has a perfect mind and perfect willpower. He's a truly peerless talent. I'll tell you something about the catastrophes on Earth and the war of talents. Asterisk 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 asterisk. In the Milky Way, Luo Feng walked along in the quiet space. The higher his status became, the lonelier he felt. His family, like his wife, his children, and his parents, would never be estranged from him. But the same could not be said of his friends. Even those friends he had fought with, like Rong Jun and even Hong and Thunder God, would be estranged from him. On the contrary, Wei Wen, who had grown up with him and didn't know much about the seniors in the human race, still treated Luo Feng as he had before. "Even if I suppress my power, they are still awed by him. If I let it out, even universe knights don't dare to look me right in the eyes." Luo Feng actually felt quite lonely. When he was resurrecting Huyangbo and the slaves, he couldn't help recalling all those friends he'd had before. Like Fire Hammer Squad, when he had first became a warrior. Like his friends who had died during the fight against the swallowing beast, the golden horned beast. He had transferred its soul to him, yet the others died. Could he resurrect them? No, he couldn't. Although universe masters could reverse time, he wasn't able to revive his mates from the past. Those heroes who had died fighting the swallowing beast were only at the Star Traveler level, so they only had 1,000 years to live. If he tried to resurrect them, he could indeed locate them. The punishment of turning back time could be borne by Luo Feng, but the passage of that time had to be borne by them. Undying fighters could easily bear the passage of time. As for his mates from the past, their bodies would immediately weaken and decay with the passage of time, and without multiple bodies, their souls would quickly be gone. Luo Feng couldn't help them at all, even if time was turned back. This was one of the weaknesses of turning back time. It wasn't perfect, as there were several exceptions to its abilities. Luo Feng sighed and flew to the palaces in the distance. It was the holy land of Milky Way, where Luo Feng's palaces were situated. After arriving back at the Milky Way, Luo Feng reconstructed the time and space around his palace. Through his control over space and time, he isolated the space and time of the area from it. Even if ordinary spaceships went by, they couldn't enter this space and time. After that, Luo Feng began his first practice, after becoming a universe master. In Luo Feng's home in the Milky Way, he had garnered great fame thanks to the unprecedented war that had involved almost all the supreme beings in the original universe. Also, Luo Feng's home was called Milky Way Holy Land, or Milky Way Den, by the other races on the outside. It was where Luo Feng lived. Even an army couldn't do anything to him, not to mention the others. In Milky Way Holy Land, boat of Mausoleum, which was 10 billion kilometers long, slowly floated through space. Luo Feng was practicing in the space of inheritance inside it. Ever since I created the blade technique, and got the inheritance, I haven't created any blade techniques. Star Tower started to float on Luo Feng's palm. I have Star Tower, too, yet I can only utilize the third-level engravings, and it's already as complex as Nirvana incarnation. Normally, it was easier to utilize engravings than to create techniques. For example, Universe Masters like Pengong Master, Darkness Master, and Star River Master hadn't created Universe Supreme Master level techniques, yet they could utilize engravings at that level. And the fact that Luo Feng was able to create a blade technique at that level meant he could utilize engravings more advanced than that. Star Tower is the most mysterious true treasure I have, Luo Feng thought. Both Boat of Mausoleum and Shawu Wing are of the machine type, and they both have apparent functions and power limits. As for Blood Shadow Blade, it's only an embryo, and all the techniques need to be created by me. Only Star Tower is so mysterious. Before the war, Luo Feng had been confused as to why Star Tower had such strict requirements for master recognition. However, he hadn't yet discovered the full extent of its unique capabilities, as he hadn't been strong enough. After the war, Luo Feng learned the first special advantage of Star Tower. It was much more efficient in guarding souls than other supreme true treasures. I'll comprehend them carefully now. Luo Feng immediately started to comprehend the engravings now. The time in the space of inheritance was 10,000 times faster than that outside, making it more efficient. After becoming a universe master, Luo Feng could finally start to improve his power comprehensively, trying to maximize his power at this level. Hundreds of years passed, which was much longer on the outside. Luo Feng opened his eyes in the space of inheritance after a long time and frowned. Ancestral God School is looking for me. He took out a token, which had been given to him by the ancestral gods, after he became a submember of the Ancestral God School. I need to go see the ancestral gods. Luo Feng was confused. If he was still at a mediocre level, it would have been normal for the Ancestral God School to give commands, but he held a different status now. His power had manifested in the previous war. Only under special circumstances would the Ancestral God School look for him. Besides, even if they actually needed him, they could have sent a prophet instead of summoning him directly. I talked with all 3 ancestral gods after the war, and none of them is arrogant, thought Luo Feng. There must be a reason why they are summoning me. He was already a pinnacle being in the original universe, and there had to be mutual respect when great beings talked with each other. Luo Feng disappeared. Ancestral God School, Bohinia Island in the Ancestral God Secret Region. The palace where Luo Feng lived was still there. A silver-caped being appeared, followed by a dimming light. It was Luo Feng. It's been a long time. Luo Feng looked around. Luo Feng, came a voice. Come here. There's something important about the humans I need to tell you. Luo Feng frowned as he whispered to himself, right beside me. Double-face ancestral god. Following the ripples of godly power, and considering how the other party had taken the first move to reveal himself, Luo Feng came to realize that the one who sent the voice transmission was Double-face ancestral god, who had previously saved him when he was at war with virtual real devil god. All this while, just to protect Luo Feng, Double-face ancestral god had stayed beside him as his neighbor, albeit without him knowing. He had not expected Double-face ancestral god to reappear before him now. With a single step, Luo Feng teleported right away to the neighboring residence. It was a serene building that carried the diverse characteristics of various races. Behind the high, lofty walls of the courtyard, there was a pond, and within the pond, there were many sculptures of 6-armed beings of a race that resembled the human form being erected. There was a total of 11 sculptures, and in the middle of the pond was a flat, smooth rock. On this rock was a set of a wooden table accompanied by 2 wooden chairs. The 2 wooden chairs faced one another. Seated on one of them was the tall and sturdy Double-face ancestral god. The 2 faces of Double-face ancestral god were completely different from one another. One was extremely kind and amiable, while the other was simply ferocious and mean. At that time, the one facing Luo Feng was obviously the fair-skinned face that was kind and amiable. Have a seat, Double-face ancestral god said with a smile. Luo Feng appeared in the sky above the pond and started to walk over to the other wooden chair. Then he sat down. I have specially prepared these fine foods and fruit wine. Double-face ancestral god was holding a dark green wine bottle in one hand as he introduced the fine spread. This is ice-fired fruit wine. In the whole primal universe, it can only be found in the ancestral god secret region. There is only one ice-fired fruit once every 10,000 eras. Every fruit can allow one sector lord to have a 50% chance of becoming undying. This bottle of ice-fired fruit wine is the refined essence of 128,000 ice-fired fruits. Its taste is simply divine. Luo Feng laughed in amazement and said, ice-fired fruit wine. Who else but the Ancestral God School? I had heard it said that a large number of ice-fired fruits was required to produce ice-fired fruit wine, but I've never had the chance to try it. Ice-fired fruit could only be bred in a most unique environment. Just eating one fruit would produce an effect similar to receiving the inheritance of a beast god. The differences were that this inheritance adhered to the water law and fire law instead. Eating one fruit would indeed boost the chances of a sector lord becoming an undying. This fruit was an incomparably precious piece of treasure in the universe. The only pity was that the ancestral god school monopolized the field for producing it. There were countless treasures in the ancestral god secret region, but no external races could ever dream of laying hands on any of them. They were all under the ancestral god school's sole dominion. Furthermore, the willpower of the primal universe origin favored the ancestral god school, so when there were unique treasures appearing, even before the other races caught wind of news, the ancestral god school would already have learned about them. Precious, fine wine and delectable cuisine lay spread out before them. Every one of these costs as much as a normal true treasure, but of course, to the ancestral gods, it was not much. To the three great ancestral gods, Luo Feng was definitely qualified enough for them to go to such great lengths to show their hospitality. "I've enjoyed the food and wine thoroughly," Luo Feng teased with a smile. "Doubleface ancestral god, your purpose in summoning me here, it's time to get down to business. I have been so curious. This is something so important to us humans, but even we do not know about it. Yet Doubleface ancestral god knows. I really wonder. What is this all about? I just received this piece of news." Doubleface ancestral god said softly, "and I got to know it from the willpower of the primal universe origin." Willpower of the primal universe origin. Luo Feng was taken aback. Just a moment ago, he had still been in a slight daze with some lingering effects of the alcohol yet to wear off. Upon hearing this, his conscious mind, which was kept functioning by his godly power, was jerked into a speedy recovery. The willpower of the primal universe origin. Luo Feng could not hold back his question. Could it still be able to transmit information? The willpower of the primal universe origin, from what Luo Feng understood, was an instinctive willpower naturally formed by universe laws. Its tendency toward kindness or evil was instinctive. Like the strange object. It was instinctively revolting, which was why the ancestral god school had sent subordinates to deal with it. Doubleface ancestral god, you are saying that the willpower of the primal universe origin told you something important related to us humans? Luo Feng found it hard to believe. Doubleface ancestral god nodded. Yes. It shouldn't be surprising. Perhaps you feel that being able to communicate with the willpower of the primal universe origin is unbelievable, but in fact, as ancestral gods, we are the spokespeople for the willpower of the primal universe origin. And this time around, the news is related to Huge Axe, creator of your human race, who has already been annihilated. Huge Axe. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed faintly. What news? Huge Axe's annihilation was actually because he was ambushed by other great beings within the universe ocean, Doubleface ancestral god said. Or, to say it more accurately, it was all a conspiracy. Immediately, Luo Feng began to bombard Doubleface ancestral god with questions. Conspiracy? Who? Among the human race, they were aware that the map from Yuan Ao Master had been a fake. Previously, Huge Axe had warned them about it, yet he had not mentioned the names of the conspirators. Maybe Huge Axe had thought that since he was not with the human race, expecting them to take revenge for him was just impractical. The damage would definitely outweigh the benefits, so he probably had not seen the need to mention names. A total of 3 conspirators were behind this ambush, Doubleface ancestral god said. They are all from the first reincarnation era. The first of them is Great Thunder Star Master. The second one is Jinjiu Emperor. The third one is Dragon Rock ancestral god. Turbulent waves heaved and crashed within Luo Feng's chest, and his eyes flashed with an uncontrollable desire for murder. The first reincarnation era. Yes. That first reincarnation era was about to face its doomsday, so almost everyone was behaving like lunatics. What were they not capable of? Great Thunder Star Master. Jinjiu Emperor. Dragon Rock ancestral god. The 3 of them, detailed information of these 3 started to flood Luo Feng's mind. Great Thunder Star Master, Jinjiu Emperor, and Dragon Rock Ancestral God were not considered to be from pinnacle races during the first reincarnation era, but every one of them was still troublesome, frightening opponents. Great Thunder Star Master belonged to a kind of special life form called the Thunderstorm Star life form. Back when the first reincarnation era was within the primal universe, thunderstorm stars as big as stars had appeared at the star traveler level. Every one of these thunderstorm stars had a willpower of their own. After countless years, some of these thunderstorm stars started to evolve. So long as they were able to undergo evolution, they could become undying. Then they would continue to become more powerful. The thunderstorm star race was extremely tyrannical. Although its population was quite small, the race was very strong. Great Thunder Star Master was the supreme master of the entire thunderstorm star race. Junjiu Emperor was also a special life form. He was a fire source race life form. Life forms from this race were born within the stars, but out of 1 trillion stars, there might not necessarily be one that could breed a member of the fire source race. Every great being of the fire source race would become a sector lord upon reaching adulthood. Then they could refine metals to form bodies of steel, and their origin would evolve into the eyes of the fire source. So long as the eyes of the fire source remained ignited, these great beings would not die. Junjiu Emperor was the greatest leader of the fire source race. He was the emperor of the entire fire source race. Dragon Rock Ancestral God was one of the 3 ancestral gods from the first reincarnation eras. However, back when the primal universe of that era was destroyed, they had all been banished from their homeland. The cohesiveness of the ancestral god school had been destroyed. Dragon Rock Ancestral God might have been a special life form, but he also had a race under his leadership. Some special life forms existed within the universe in the hundreds or the thousands. And, of course, the fewer they were in number, the more formidable their talents were. The Dragon Rock race had an estimated population size of a few thousand. Although they were not formidable, they were still special life forms to begin with, and their most unique characteristics were their massive godly bodies. Those 3, Luo Feng frowned. What a difficult situation. He would have rather faced enmity with the 5 true masters of the Divine Eye clan than be caught in a scuffle with these 3. The power of one alone was not to be underestimated, let alone the 3 of them combined. If these ancient freaks of nature, who were awaiting their doomsday, really were to combine forces, even huge axe creator might find it hard to fight them. It was those 3. Doubleface Ancestral God looked at Luo Feng and asked, "Are you feeling the pressure now?" The 3 of them are all aloof and tyrannical supreme masters from the first reincarnation era, said Luo Feng. The supreme masters from my primal universe, he shook his head. They would be inferior to them in comparison. 3 of them, and all with supreme true treasures. I am eager to kill them, but I must admit that I indeed feel the stress. Although he said this out loud, his heart was another matter. Was Luo Feng truly one who would bow his head and concede defeat so easily? In less than 200,000 years, he had matured into adulthood. Together with the inheritance of the pulse of Duan Dong River, why would he lack confidence whatsoever? Throughout the entire universe ocean, he feared no one. For these 3 who had brought about the annihilation of huge axe, Luo Feng would go all out and try every way possible to seek vengeance. But, before Doubleface Ancestral God, Luo Feng still had to put on a show, because he was unclear about the actual intention of the willpower of the primal universe origin. Theoretically, this was purely a feud between universe supreme masters, and considering how detached the willpower of the primal universe origin was, by right, it would not be interfering. Yet, this time around, it had chosen to inform the humans through an ancestral god of the ancestral god school. To think there was no goer in this action. He would have to be a fool to believe that. No supreme masters is to be trifled with, not to mention these 3 universe supreme masters. Luo Feng shook his head. Doubleface Ancestral God smiled. It would be hard for others, but Milky Way Horde leader, you have the boat of Mausoleum, and you have charged your way through various dangerous lands. You have multiple bodies, so even if one of them were to be annihilated, it wouldn't be a big deal. If you are unable to kill them, perhaps you could make use of the dangerous environment of the 3 most dangerous lands. Use them to your advantage, and also, make use of the uniqueness of your boat of mausoleum. Make them fall into a state of desperation, or even to the brink of death. Wouldn't that solve everything? Such an opportunity is hard to come by, Luo Feng said. So long as there is enough time, there will always be opportunities, said Double-Face Ancestral God. Luo Feng frowned as he stared at Double-Face Ancestral God, whose kind and amiable face was smiling back at him. Both of them looked into each other's eyes. Then Luo Feng finally spoke very slowly. Double-Face Ancestral God, the willpower of the primal universe origin. Why would it go through you to tell us, the human race, about this matter? I am no fool. There must be a reason behind all this. Tell me, what is the goal to be achieved? Or else my heart cannot be at ease. Double-Face Ancestral God smiled. The goal is simple. The noble willpower of the primal universe origin wants those three dead. Throughout universe ocean, you humans are the ones who have a reason for a feud with them. Secondly, other races may face difficulties trying to kill them. Only you, with that inheritance of the pulse of Duandong River, have the greatest hope of achieving this goal. Even if you are unable to achieve it now, when you have become a universe supreme master, you will be able to do it. Luo Feng gave small nods. Yes. He had never doubted his own strength and ability, and he was especially confident since he had been comprehending Star Tower for several hundred eras. Perhaps it would not be realistic for him to be able to annihilate a universe supreme master now, but once he had become a supreme master, coupled with the inheritance of the pulse of Duandong River, he could easily realize the goal of becoming more powerful that Teacher Origin had been. The willpower of the primal universe origin wants the three of them dead. Luo Feng mumbled to himself. At that moment, various thoughts surfaced in his mind. He was starting to grasp a faint understanding of the willpower of the universe origin. This video will end here.